Please, if it doesn't offend you that I'm asking for your support to get solar system, please, however you can assist us in getting a solar energy, please, it will be highly appreciated. God bless you. As I'm talking to you now, the light coming, going, coming and going. So even the stress of going to start the generator and returning to sit again and continue with what one is doing, and before you know it, you know, in the long run, it is more expensive actually to run a gasoline generator, you know, over getting a solar energy. We need about $1,000 to get this done, please. It is not by force, please, so that you don't get offended and send me some, venomous attack messages in my DM, please. God bless you.
Hey, hello. I want to plead that you watch this video till the end. If you don't watch till the end, you will misunderstand what I am talking about in this video. Thank you and God bless you.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is a wonderful day, and I appreciate God for you and me, who has given us the privilege of life. To be alive in the land of the living, I'd like to declare that it is not because of whatever you or myself have done that we are alive today. It is just the gift of God. So we are thankful to God. And I'm thankful to God that I'm alive to witness what is happening again between Halimar Abubakar and Apostle Johnson Suleman.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom.
Now, Suleman, yes, wrote petition against me, and based on that, I was arrested and detained. But, that was because of my sincere criticisms of his wrong standings on the scripture. But when Halimar Abubakar, her story was coming out, now I made some videos on that and I kept quiet. And because I was not as vehemently direct as most people would have wanted me to, I read some comments making me a hypocrite, that some said I was speaking from two sides of my mouth. Now something has developed. I'm sure that not many of you know that Halimar Abubakar was eventually convicted by the court. Suleman sued her. And sometimes I actually wonder the accelerated processes of getting these justices for some people in Nigeria, because I know that there are some cases that say over 5 years and the cases are not done. Just before you know it, the case had been heard, determined, and the court fined Halimar Abubakar 10 million naira for defamation and raising false allegation against Johnson Suleman. Now, many of you, many of us saw Halimar boasting with everything she said she had, the evidences she said she had. She even said she tattooed Johnson Suleman on her body. I can't remember which part of the body now that she tattooed Suleman on and all that. Now, whenever I come to cover some cases that has to do with men, do you know what guides me? What guides me is, number one, experience, and there is always an inner witness. I won't tell you God told me, because I don't want to bring God into disrepute, because sometimes my judgment might be wrong, but from experience and my inner instinct, sometimes, I know several times I may have been, but that is not what actually brought me to making this video. There was something that Suleman said that I saw, and I was like, nah, there we go again. So I wanted to be sure that happened, and so I typed Halimar Abubakar, and eventually it led me to confirmation of what I want to say. Now, before I show you what Suleman said, I need to show you also what Halimar said that brought about the statement of Suleman that I think is not standing so well with not just a Christian, but a preacher. We'll get to that. Now, everybody has rights to what they want to accept and what they don't want to accept, what they want to do, what they don't want to do. Now, let me bring this to your notice in case you don't know. Now, I'm reading from Punch. So it is, I didn't have time to visit Halimar's page. It will take a lot of time, but it is there. Out there, you can go and find it. Punch wrote, says, Nollywood actress Halimar Abubakar has issued a public apology to Apostle Johnson Suleman, the senior pastor and general overseer of Omega Fire Ministries International, for her defamatory remarks against him. In a statement shared on her Instagram account on Wednesday, Abubakar admitted that her past statements were false and hurtful. The actress conveyed her regret for the pain she inflicted with allegations while pleading for forgiveness from Apostle Suleman and his family. She attributed her actions to poor judgment at the time, noting that the apology was motivated by deep reflection and conscience. Now, in her words, she wrote, I am writing to you today to acknowledge the falsehoods I made against you on social media and to offer my sincere apology. The letter reads, After deep reflection and in order for my conscience to be in accord with God, I have realized the depth of the harm, pain, and distress caused by my lies. I admit that I made false allegations against you and also regret my actions and the damage I caused to you, your wife, Dr. Mrs. Lizzie Suleman, your family, and the leaders of Omega Fire Ministries. With this letter, I humbly ask for your forgiveness, recognizing that my apology cannot undo the harm, pain, and distress I caused. I ask you to find a place in your heart to forgive me as I was not thinking clearly at that time. Sir, you have done a lot for humanity. Please extend your hands of forgiveness to me, she explained. Abubakar had alleged on social media in 2022 that she had a romantic relationship with Suleman, prompting threats of legal action from the cleric over defamatory statements. The controversy intensified in 2023 when the actress claimed she had been pregnant 3 times with Suleman's child. However, in April, a federal high court in Abuja ruled in favor of Apostle Suleman, ordering Halimar to pay 10 million naira in damages for defamation. The court also restrained her from publishing defamatory statements against the cleric. Now, I think that this, is good. Is a good development, and I believe it would serve as a lesson to persons. Now, I know that some school of thought will also be that maybe she has been told to come publicly to say those things are not true, because those are the things that we are used to seeing, and we are used to in these days. But then I'm leaving it as it is. If that is your school of thought, if that is what you think, that is your own. But I'm taking this as it is, that Halimar, eventually, everything she said were all lies, and the competent court of law has been able to prove that. Okay, now eventually, what was the reaction from Suleman? That was what actually brought me to this page. And this, I actually had wanted to make this video, but I didn't know that Suleman had reacted. All right. So the reaction now is that Suleman said that forgiveness is not memory loss. Status quo maintained. So that got me thinking. Now, before I go further, I have stated that every individual has got the right to what they want to do and the stand they want to take on certain matters. But there are persons also that there is a person you will become and you will lose those rights. If you are a Christian, there are some rights you waive. Yes, socially, it is your right. Humanly speaking, they are your rights. But in tune with the Christ you have come to represent, you stand to waive those rights. Now, forgiveness truly is not loss of memory. Correct and accurate. There are things that you would have suffered in the hands of enemies, of people who wanted to deal with you in an unjust way. Even when the wound has healed, the scar remains, of course. When we were growing up, there were some injuries we sustained, some wounds we had, while we were growing up and playing some kind of rough games. After the healing, the scars remained. Now, if you look closely, I don't know if you will see this. I don't think you will see it. Yeah, but if you can actually see a line here. There's a line here. This line here. Now, that was an injury I sustained while filing the cutlass. I wanted to use and go and cut powder for the goats then. So I was filing it, and my hand shifted. This way you file, you put the cutlass flat, then you're filing, and unfortunately, the file was not having protection. There used to be some protection added to this, to that tiny part of the file. So manually I was filing, and my hand shifted towards the blade of the machete, and this thing caught me deep, even caught a vein here. Now, it was too short, but anytime I looked at this place, I have a memory to think of that this was what happened to me. I also sustained a similar injury here. It's dark a bit, you may not see it. If you look at the tip of this finger, you see that it's a little bit looking like it was perforated. It was still the same experience. This time I was using stone, local stone too. There's a way we do it. We do it this way. You put water, you put sand on the stone, and you file it. It was invented by our ancestors. So, and it will preserve the blade of the cutlass. It will not diminish in time. So I was filing it, and I wanted it to be super sharp. Before you know it, the water on the stone, shifted my hand towards another stone that was close by, and that one wedged my hand, and the cutlass cut me like this. For a very long time, this finger remained bent. You see now, and some in my legs. If I also show you, I have some scar. So there are some wounds that will heal, but the scar will be lifelong, lifetime. The impact will be there, though the pains would have gone. So I understand that forgiveness is not memory loss. But then what is the biblical standard of forgiveness? Do you forgive and still hold on to the person's offense? Because Jesus admonished us to forgive as our Heavenly Father do forgive us. So if our Heavenly Father will forgive us and write off our debts, now we are expected in return to forgive others and write off their debts. Now, the most important thing is that the person has admitted that he's sorry. Even there are some persons, for your own sake, even when the persons have not said they are sorry, just because you don't want to have bitterness in your heart, you forgive them ahead of time. Even though that it hurts, that a person has wounded you, has injured your spirit, and is still grandstanding over you, some persons will even claim that their lies are true. See, I have seen a lot of things. I've seen so much. There was this lady who lied against two good men. One of them, a pastor, that she told everybody who cared to listen that this man had wanted to sleep with her, whereas she was the one trying to seduce them, and when they refused her, she turned it the other way around. Now she got married and became pregnant and carried the pregnancy for 14 months. It was in the 14th month that she called the pastor and said, "Please, I'm sorry, forgive me." The pastor prayed for her in the morning. In the evening, she gave birth. I can't sit here to lie. This one now is not something you cannot. The people are still alive. The pastor is still alive. Is one of the senior pastors in the ministry where I fellowship. And then the lady is also a member of the church. So that this thing happens. So when I come and I am carefully choosing my words, I understand that it is deadly to amplify the voice of a person that you are not even there. You are not part of the situation that occurred. A lot of persons can come up with so much evidence, so to speak, but at the end of the day, they will not be able to produce the evidence. Do you even know that it is actually, I don't know, scientifically, is there a way to prove that a man slept with you 2 years ago? I don't know if there is a way to prove it. I don't know. Because when a woman will come up and say, he has been sleeping with me, he has been sleeping with me, he has been sleeping with me, Now, when he was sleeping with you, you didn't shout. But eventually, maybe he moved on to another lady, or you demanded for something they didn't give you. Now, it is time for you now to talk, because you know you can slander him, and you probably will make money from threatening him that you're going to expose him. See, I'm not saying that anything happened, or something or that nothing happened between Suleman and Halimar, but Halimar herself has said, I don't know if she's retracting everything she said, or that there are some things she said in her statements that were untrue. But then the court found her lying, and she has apologized. But what I want to say is that for Suleman to insist that forgiveness is not memory loss, that means that, whatever it was, I don't know whether the 10 million naira is the issue here, that because Halima actually must pay if the court has ordered her to pay. I don't know if, I am not too good in all these things, whether she must pay in full, or she may pay according as her strength. So probably the forgiveness now may be for Suleman to waive the 10 million naira and forgive her. Now, if you ask me, if we are truly God-like, Christ-like, the Lord forgave us all our debts. In fact, he paid it for our debts that he did not owe. That is God. Now, not only the court actually that found Halima, lying, the Actors Guild of Nigeria also found Halima's claims, not just against Suleman, but against other persons in the industry. He made mentions of some persons that were also doing, you get it. So he made mention of them. And so the Actor Guild of Nigeria, AGN, decided also to go and do their own investigation. I may not be able to put it forth here. So they found out that Halima's allegation against, they didn't mention Suleman's name anyway, but against some of her colleagues, that most of those things were found to be lies. And so they suspended her, I think, for 2 years or thereabout. So I saw a pop-up that Halima has gone to court to sue them for 30 billion naira. Somebody was asking, how much does Nigeria cost? Nigeria, how much is the net worth of Nigeria if she will be suing AGN for 30 billion? Well, that is not my focal point. My focal point is that you don't learn from anybody that forgiveness, doesn't extend to making other amendments. Now, if you have offended me, and out of my pains, I held you responsible, and you must pay damages, and then I forgive you. Now, I should also be able to be magnanimous enough to let go. Now, maintaining status quo actually is saying that you are not shifting. And again, it is actually difficult to tell who has forgiven who, because it is a thing of the heart. And so the only time we can say that forgiveness has been achieved is when the person who has been offended or was able, to let go of certain things surrounding the offense. Forgiveness is a thing of the heart. So you cannot prove the person right or wrong. You cannot say the person is telling the truth or not when he says, I've forgiven you. But the actions of the person will show that indeed I have forgiven you.
We're in Lexington, Kentucky, and the sentencing of Trey Alexander Relford. He's pled guilty to the 2015 murder and robbery of Salahuddin Jitmood, 22-year-old who'd been delivering pizzas. Jitmood was making his final delivery of the night when Relford and 2 accomplices lured him into their apartment complex, then robbed and stabbed him to death.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Before Relford receives his sentence, the victim's father, Sombachi, a school principal and devout Muslim, speaks directly to the man who murdered his son.
Trey Alexander Relford, I feel so sad for you that you have to be in this situation. I wish I could help you, as I help my son to be a good citizen. If Salahuddin were to be here, if he alive, he will forgive you. That's the way he was. That's the way he is. I'm not angry at you for being part of hurting my son. I'm angry at the devil. I blame the devil, who misguiding you and misleading you to do such a horrible crime. No, I don't blame you. I'm not angry at you at all. I want you to know that. I forgive you on behalf of Salahuddin and his mother.
Before Judge Kimberly Bennell delivered her sentence, there was still one person left to speak.
Mr. Relford, do you wish to make a statement?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry about what happened that day, but I do applaud you because it takes a powerful man to know that somebody has hurt them and do what you get up there and say what you just said. I have a child. She is 4, and I can imagine the hurt, the pain from what you learned. Just tell us what I can do. So I thank you for your forgiveness.
And now it's time for the judge to announce her sentence.
Mr. Relford, an incredibly horrible event happened that has changed the lives of 2 families forever. Nothing can fix it. I am going to accept the Commonwealth's recommendation. Murder, 25 years. And I truly wish for you the very best. Thank you.
Trey Relford received 25 years for murder and an additional 6 years for robbery.
When God forgave us, he wrote off our debt. Now, I choose to tell people that God doesn't remember our sin does not mean that God suffered memory loss, but he chose not to remember them. So in his capacity as God, he chose not to have the memory of our past sins. And that is why he said, when a righteous man lives righteousness and goes into unrighteousness, all his righteousness of the past will be forgotten. They will be indeed in the past when he goes into living in unrighteousness. And if an unrighteous man forsakes righteousness and begins to do righteous things, begin to live a life of righteousness, all his wickedness of the past will be forgotten. That is God for you. And if we are his children, we should be able to imbibe that kind of attributes, characteristics. Thank you and God bless you. So this should be a lesson to everybody. Please, before you make allegation, I'm learning as well, because there are sometimes you may be saying the truth but you don't have any evidence to prove. And you see, he slept with me. See, I may not be able to tell you everything, but I have seen women open their mouth and say, he's doing this to me because I refused to sleep with him such and such time. Meanwhile, she was the one that wanted to give the man her body free of charge, and the man refused to accept the sacrifice. And so when, in the heat of the time, she turned the table against the man. And you know that men tended, there is every tendency that people will believe her story because nobody was there. You see, I'm not too old, but I have lived, around enough to know that sometimes people can be very, very evil and wicked. I'm not going to cite any other examples because when I mention instances now, it will be like, you are speaking against the victims. We know in part and we prophesy in part. See, between Joseph and Potiphar's wife, both of them know the truth. But Potiphar's wife chose to change the story. But the two of them know the truth. And God in heaven, the third person, the next person, knows the truth. So whether you think Halimar has been compromised at the back to come and put forth this letter or not, between Joseph and Potiphar's wife, both of them, Potiphar's wife lied against Joseph. She knew she was lying. Joseph knew he was lied against. God knew Joseph was innocent. I stop it. Thank you so much. God bless you. Let us know what you think about this in the comment section. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, from me to you.